An executive from the vegan burger company Beyond Meat was arrested after a fight in which he allegedly bit another man's nose. Which, goddamn, when vegans have a cheat day, they really go hard. They go hard. In health news, the FDA has officially warned people not to do a TikTok trend called the NyQuil challenge, which is where people are cooking chicken in NyQuil. And I don't know, I mean, this sounds fake to me, but if it's not, why would you stop it, huh? White people are finally seasoning their chicken. That's a win. Let them do it. Let them go. Oh, and in international news, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is facing criticism after a video circulated showing him singing Bohemian Rhapsody at a London hotel 2 nights before the Queen's funeral. Yeah, people are saying it was disrespectful, and they're right. Right? You don't sing a song by Queen when the Queen has died. That's insulting. You sing Wu-Tang, it was her favorite group. No, but seriously, I don't get why people are so angry about this. Who cares? It's not like he's saying, another one bites the dust, you know? Too sensitive. But let's move on to some of the biggest stories of the day, starting with a criminal case that was probably in your ears every Thursday morning back in 2014.
A judge in Baltimore today overturned the murder conviction of Adnan Syed, whose case was featured in the hit podcast Serial, and ordered his release from prison. Syed, now 41, walked out of the courthouse after spending more than 2 decades behind bars.
In vacating the ruling, the judge found that the original prosecutors did not turn over evidence to the defense that could have helped Syed. And evidence uncovered since would have added, quote, substantial and significant probability that the result would have been different.
The decision to vacate Syed's conviction came down just hours ago, and tonight he's back home with family, and as you can see in this video, one of the first things he did is go right for the fridge and dive into some leftovers.
I'm sorry, this is an insane story. This guy was sentenced to life in prison. Then years later, a podcast brings attention to his case, and now after 22 years locked up, he gets to go home. And I know people are celebrating this, and I understand why, but I'm going to be honest with you, I find it weird that America confuses fixing a mistake with a happy ending. You know what I mean? And be like, good news, we got out of Afghanistan. Well, why were you there in the first place? Good news, we got emergency water to Jackson, Mississippi. Why do you need emergency water? Good news, we took all the pink slime out of the meat. The pink what now? And so yes, happy, but come on, people, you know? I will say it was heartwarming, though, to see him back home with his family eating leftovers, you know? Yeah, no, just because knowing families, there's probably one uncle who's like, who the hell had my leftovers? I know you did 20 years, but I was saving that. But can you imagine that guy was in prison since the year 2000? Think about all the things he's missed out on. Huh? He's going to be chatting to his friends like, oh man, I'm so excited to be free. Let's go to an R. Kelly concert. They'll be like, got some bad news. Yeah. But this does raise a big question, right? What does it say about America that it takes a podcast to help free a man from prison? Because what I think it says is that either America needs to reform its justice system, or podcasts need to become part of the justice system. Yeah, think about it. Everyone hates jury duty, but everyone loves podcasts. So maybe we get rid of juries and just have everyone in America listen to the podcast. And then they all vote. It just becomes a nationwide jury. They're paying attention. They actually care. Yeah, because this is something I've realized. If you add entertainment, Americans are always interested. Like, nobody wants to sit in a courtroom, but people have watched 700 seasons of Law and Order. Sometimes during jury duty, they're like, this is boring, I'm gonna watch more law. Think about it, if the trial was a podcast, everybody wins, right? Justice is served, jurors on board, and best of all, everyone gets to go home with a promo code for a shirt that you don't have to tuck in. Now, here's the thing. The full story is this. It wasn't just the podcast that helped free Syed. What happened was, Syed got lucky enough that his case came up for review to a prosecutor who used to be a public defender, right? And that prosecutor dug through the case files deeper than she had to and found all sorts of problems with the original prosecution. So she asked the judge to vacate the conviction and let Syed go. Yeah, And they did this while they decide whether or not to put him on trial again. But remember, the prosecutor didn't have to do any of that. She could have just said, yeah, maybe it wasn't a completely fair trial, but tough shit. But no, she said no. If we're going to put somebody in prison, it has to be without any doubt. And that shows you the difference between a justice system that wants justice versus a system that just wants to put people in prison. This prosecutor is like those employees in the shoe store who offer to check in the back when they don't have your size. You know what I mean? When they actually go, like, well, let me check in the, as opposed to those employees, we're like, sorry, man, I ain't got your size. You're like, can you check in the back? They're like, no, it'd be better if you just chop off your feet. I'm not gonna lie. Get more people like that. But let's move on to some news about climate change. Because no matter what else is going on, climate change is still happening. Yeah, the ice caps are melting. It's not like they're like, oh, damn, did you see that Adam Levine story on TikTok? I'll melt later because you got to check this out. No. The climate change is still getting worse. And it doesn't mean that it's gotten worse for everybody, though. In fact, in Mexico, the effects of climate change have created business opportunities for drug cartels.
An investigation by Vice News has found that Mexico's notorious Sinaloa drug cartel is now in the water business. After a major drought dried up lakes and rivers across northern Mexico, the cartel began siphoning off anything that remained and selling it to farmers and businesses. In some cases, they even hijacked water trucks at gunpoint.
Yeah, you hear that? Drug cartels are running water now. Controlling the water. We laughed at the Fire Festival guy, but sooner or later, every one of us is going to be sucking for a bottle of Poland Spring. Because here's the thing, just because climate change happens gradually doesn't mean it's not a crisis. Right? People watch Mad Max and they're like, oh, that's a bit unrealistic. But remember, that's not day one. It didn't start like that. Immortan Joe didn't roll up into the office like that. It was gradual. And if drug cartels are not going to be selling water, that means now we have to be worried about whether or not it's pure. And for all we know, they're going to start cutting it with like urine or, or even worse, Dasani, you never know. And if you're not disturbed about what's happening in Mexico, you should be, because water is a resource, people. It's a resource that everyone needs to survive. It's not something that should be controlled by drug cartels. That's Nestle's business. And Sinaloa is stepping on their goddamn turf, pendejo! Speaking of climate change, as the world tries to become more green, one of the major challenges has been airplanes, right? The problem is, it's hard to make them green, and we need them. We use them for everything. Shipping products, people, dragging giant signs across the sky so people know that there's a mattress sale. Without planes, how are you ever going to join the Mile High Club, huh? Have you ever tried to smash in a hot air balloon? The splinters get everywhere. Plus, that old man is judging you the whole time. Well, you paid for an hour, so you still got 57 minutes left, kid. So the truth is, we're going to have to get serious about fighting climate change, even if it means taking some big swings, which is why Air Canada has made an exciting new announcement.
Air Canada is buying electric planes for the first time. It is purchasing 30 battery-powered regional aircraft from Heart Aerospace, a Swedish company. The planes can carry up to 30 passengers and will generate zero emissions.
Now that's what I'm talking about, people. Electric planes, cleaner, efficient, quieter. So now you'll really be able to hear the baby crying behind you, And I was like, oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't know about you, but I'm excited for this, Like I can't wait to fly on maybe the second or third one they make. Let them fly for a year and then I'll jump on. I'm gonna jump on immediately. Here's the thing. They won't even let us fly with a big battery on a plane because they're scared it'll burst into flames. But now the whole plane is just a big battery? You want me to be comfortable with that? I'm just saying. Not a no. Maybe we just make everything on the ground electric first before we do it in the sky. It's gonna be dope when you think about it, because once electric planes are going, it's gonna be easy. You just leave them plugged in, charging at the airport, and boom, zero emissions. We should also prepare ourselves, though, for that occasional flight when we find out at 30,000 feet that the plane wasn't fully charged because the plug did that thing where it just hangs off. The plug does that? Now you're on 4%. I was just like, ladies and gentlemen, does anybody have a portable charger? I'm joking. That's not how technology works. Come on, people. If the plane gets low on battery, you just put it in airplane mode. Problem solved. Come on. All right, finally. Here's a story I have to share with you guys because I can't tell if it's amazing or terrifying or both. Like, how many ants do you guys think there are on Earth? Huh? A billion? A trillion? Well, it turns out you're way off.
And the Washington Post reports scientists calculated how many ants are on Earth, and they say the number is unimaginable. Scientists from the University of Hong Kong analyzed hundreds of studies and concluded that there are nearly 20 quadrillion ants burrowing around the planet. There are about 2.5 million ants for every person.
Wow! 20 quadrillion ants on the planet. I heard that news today and I was like, what? That doesn't even sound like a real number. Sounds like what I'd make up if someone asked me how many ants there are on the planet. I'd be like, I don't know, like 20 quadrillion. But no, an actual scientist has counted them all. And I mean, that's the person I feel bad for. Yeah. Because they were probably like 17 quadrillion and 35, 17 quadrillion and 36. I was like, hey, Sam, you want to grab a coffee? Oh, I was in the middle of something. 1, 2, 3. And you heard what they said. They said this number means there are 2.5 million ants for every person. And that's really bad news. Yeah, because I can fight like 20 ants tops. After that, I'm leaving the picnic. All right, that's it for the headlines. But before we go to break, it's time to check in on all the latest social media trends with our very own Ronnie Chang, everybody! Ronnie Chang! Look at that face. Look at that
Hey, Trevor. Hey, how's it going, man?
face. What's happening online, Ronnie? How's it going?
Online? Oh, it's terrible. Been reading it all day, and it feels like someone's been taking a sledgehammer to my crotch, and not in a fun way, you know what I mean? But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. Excited for fall. Halloween's coming up, right? Probably gonna dress up like a cat. Meow, meow, meow. Right, so anyway, so as you know, the big dumb trend of the day is happening on TikTok, where people are cooking chicken with NyQuil, otherwise known as chicken a la Cosby. And my question is, why are people complaining? Okay, this might be the best TikTok challenge yet. I mean, dumb teenagers are gonna eat this, get sleepy, and then what? Go to bed. Where's the downside? And everyone's like, I know, looking at this going like, that's disgusting. Who can eat this? This is gross. Guys, this isn't even close to being the grossest food I've seen in America, okay? Let me tell you, I eat in a middle school cafeteria twice a week, and that shit is inedible, right? You call those fish sticks? Now, for legal reasons, the party poopers, otherwise known as the lawyers, have said that I cannot encourage anyone to abuse NyQuil. So, for the record, do not eat delicious NyQuil chicken. But the most annoying thing on the internet today is because of this serial podcast, everyone's espousing the benefits of podcasting. All these people trying to free other people from prison using podcasts. Let me tell you something, okay? Right now in prison, it's mostly Trump advisors and January 6 rioters, okay? So let's just think this through a little bit, okay? Do you want to get the Capitol destroyed? Enough already. Enough with the podcast. Enough podcasting. It's gotten to the point where every unqualified loser with a mouth and a microphone has a podcast now, all right? I mean, just look at this guy, all right? Look at this. New podcast episode drops tomorrow. Okay, first of all, you don't drop a podcast episode, okay? This isn't a Kendrick Lamar album. Also, on second thought, oh, that's a really nice title. Here's a third thought. Do you need a TV show and a podcast? I mean, how much do you need to hear yourself speak? And look at this pensive podcasting face here. Oh, I'm so serious. Oh, look at me being serious. It almost looks like you freed someone from prison with your podcast. Have you? Have you gotten anyone out of prison? Free Steve Bannon, man. Free my boy Bannon. Yo, Bannon, what's up? Hang in there, we're getting you out. And by the way, 20 quadrillion ants, that's too many ants, all right? Someone should get on that. Back to you, Trevor.
Thank you so much, Ronnie Chang.